How's it going, everybody? Oh, there's a mic. This is pressure. I'm a little drunk, so excuse me. Company function, party, all that crap. What can I say? So I wrote this yesterday, and I was hoping to have a little bit more time when I got here to fix it up a little. So excuse me if it doesn't tell as well as I hope it should, or would, or whatever. But the theme is holidays, right? Okay, so I hope I've got this down. It's not particularly holiday-esque, but it's a story that happened over the holiday period. So yeah. Okay, let me find where it's supposed to start. Shit. Okay. So I've got papers because I'm OCD like that. I have to write down what I'm going to say before I say it. First off, just very quickly, thanks to Tan and Corey. I think this is the fourth one? Yeah, I came to the first one. I was a judge, and I felt so compelled to speak that I went up and I did it at the end. And since then, these guys have been inviting me back, and for one reason or another, I haven't been able to until tonight. But I think it's awesome, and I'm very grateful to be here. I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's a story that happened a few years ago, so I'll just start reading, and hopefully it tells itself. Here we go. It seems every time I tell a story, there are two themes that are present: alcohol and mistakes that I make. This is the story of one of my life-altering Christmas time mistakes. So I was 21 and I was in university in Canada. I told my mother that I wouldn't be coming back to Hong Kong over the Christmas period. But then I thought it would be a sweet thing to come back and surprise her a little bit. So I showed up at the door on December 10th and I said, "Hey Mom, how's it going?" And she smiled, we hugged, and we chatted for about 20 minutes, I think it was. And then, like every other holiday, I went to my room and we barely spoke until the day I left back to Canada. Because, that's how it goes. Holidays in university were a bit like that all the time. You like to believe that you came back to see your family, but in actual fact, you were coming back home to be with your good friends. And so I came back that Christmas to see my friends, the people that I'd grown up with, the people that I'd had most of my important moments with, Corey obviously being one of them, and the people I'd made mistakes with. And not Corey, not Corey, just friends. And it was no different that year. I spent the obligatory 20 minutes with my mother, and then I picked up the phone and I called a few of my friends that had already been in town a few hours before me or days before me. And I've given them all nicknames to protect their anonymity, although I don't think any of them are here tonight. But Corey might pick up who these people are. There was the artist. No? Okay. Kinky. Short hair, which, if you don't get the joke, it's because he was a big fan of long hair, the politician guy. Guitar Hero, and Dingo, who was born and raised in Australia. We agreed to meet up that night, each of us braving the jet lag in order to sort of get together and have a merry Christmas time reunion. So we went to Schnoobart's, which is the bar that took over raising us after we decided that D26 was no longer a cool place to hang out. Tan's laughing because we know that's probably where we met. And it was over pints of Erdinger Weiss that we decided to share all the things that had happened to us in the sort of months that we were apart. So the artist, my good friend, was brooding as always and said he had fallen out of love with his one true love. And she was back that Christmas and he was going to plan to break up with her. Short hair had decided that history might not have been his chosen profession of choice, and he was starting to contemplate whether or not that was what he wanted to do. Kinky had just moved out of her apartment and moved out into her own apartment and was enjoying the freedom of being alone and experimenting with, kinky parts of her personality. Guitar Hero ironically gave up playing guitar in order to chase girls. Ironic because he only started playing guitar to impress girls. Kind of like what most of us start playing guitar for. And my friend Dingo had just graduated. She went to university a few years before the rest of us. because she was that smart, and it just finished and was about to start her life. And then it came to me, and I was, it was the first time in a long time that I had no stories to tell. I'm usually the guy with stories, hence sitting up here right now. And that time, I was still the same guy that they'd seen a few months ago. I was still studying the same stuff. I hadn't graduated. I hadn't moved out. I still played guitar in order to chase silly girls, and I still did the stupidest things that I was always used to doing. And I suppose in that way the stage was kind of set for what was about to happen. So about 10 days later, when the festive period kicked into gear, this was probably the 19th, 20th of December, which is coming up soon. There were a couple of Christmas parties going on. A lot of these university parties for kids like me that had come back into town, college mixers, whatever. And we decided to go there. Predominantly, this place was Tribeca, or Club Ing. Again, Tan knows well. Sorry, Manhattan. Is that what it became? So by that time, I was too old to go there. Yeah. And the reason we went, obviously, was this $200. It was open bar, and we were cheap and kids, and it was a good time. And so we got there, and like you do, we started hitting the bar, and we started getting some drinks, and making use of that open bar. We got some shots, we got some whiskey cokes, and the girls decided they wanted to go dance, and they left us, and they did that. My friend, the artist, who was always brooding, decided to go and step into the darkness, and we kind of lost him. And then there was me and short hair and Guitar Hero standing at the bar, having some shots, and sort of enjoying the cheapness of our ways, I suppose. And sort of out of the corner of my eye, I looked away from my whiskey coke, and I found this girl. I called her Dream Girl. And I'd known Dream Girl. I've met, Dream Girl and I went to high school together, and we knew each other. But she moved away shortly after we graduated, and her family moved away. Corey's trying to figure out who this is, and and I spotted her for the first time in 3 years. There was this girl at the same bar that I was. I hadn't seen in a while, and she was fantastic. So I'll tell you guys a bit about her. Dream Girl, I called her that much because she was what a dream girl would be. She was absolutely beautiful, but she was also the sweetest girl that you'd ever meet. She had this fantastic, alluring smile, incredible demeanor, and every time you talked to her, you fell in love with her a little bit. And every time she went away, you missed her a little bit more. And so not seeing her for 3 years and then spotting her in a bar like Tribeca, you kind of felt like, well, hey, this is going to make Christmas good again. And I glanced in her direction, and let's say it was over there somewhere. And she saw me, and she looked at me, and she smiled. And that was game over, pretty much. Yeah. And, I'm not a courageous man generally, but I walked up to her. I used to, well, I am now, but I never used to be. And I walked up to her and I said, hey, and we started talking, and I said, well, you haven't been back in a while, what's going on? And she said, well, a family moved away, but I really miss this place. And she said, if I'm quoting it correctly, I'm back because I miss this place, man. Now, Tan, again, will know what I mean when I say, when a girl says, I miss this place, man, that's like a dagger to the heart. When a girl says, hey, man, hey, dude, that's pretty much the internationally recognized sign for, we're never going to sleep together, or I don't want to kiss you later, or holding hands with you is like taking my brother across the street. But, the only word worse than hey, man, or hey, dude is hey, buddy. Fucking hate it when they call you buddy. Goddamn. And I thought, fuck, she called me man. But I rolled with it. I learned something about myself. I'd been in university at this point for about 3 years, and by that point I had learned something about myself, which was basically, look, I'm not the kind of guy that, I'm not good when I try to have game. If I try to be cool and suave and smooth with the chick, it usually fails and blows up in my face. I'm the guy that's good at being your buddy. I'm the guy that's good at being man and good at being friends. And eventually, if we hit it off, it usually comes my way. And if it doesn't, no downside. I get to be friends with some cool girls. And so I decided, fuck it. I'm going to roll with it. She called me man. Let's go with that. And, and then And then we kind of just got into talking, and let me find out where I am in this story. Okay, just got so carried away. I'm talking about Dream Girl here. And it had been 3 years since we'd seen each other, but kind of in an instant, it all came back. Everything I ever liked about this girl was still there. She was still gorgeous. She still had this amazing smile. She still made all the guys turn their heads in the room. And probably most important of all, she was just a really sweet person. You meet somebody beautiful these days, usually, excuse me, ladies, they're bitches, right? Yeah. But this girl was, thank you. She was incredibly sweet, incredibly nice, and we got to talking. And we covered the basics, as I ordered us a round of shots. She was enjoying life in university. She went to USC, and she was studying marketing. And I was in Toronto, where I was freezing my balls off because goddamn, that place is cold. She was acting a little bit on the side, and she was taking drama as her elective. And I was writing in my free time when I wasn't watching TV or having too many drinks. And so the shots finally came, shots of tequila, and she was already red because she was Asian, no offense again, ladies. And she had her Asian glow, which I thought was really cute. And we gulped these shots down, and our faces contorted, and we looked like retarded idiots. Having cheap tequila shots because we were too poor and too studenty to afford better. And she poked a jibe at me and she said, "You little lightweight." And I said, "Well, hey, at least my face isn't red." And she said, "That's because you're fucking brown." And that was it. That was kind of it in a nutshell for me. This girl, I've always been attracted to the types of girls that don't take my shit. I don't know if, again, Corey Tan will know this. I talk a lot of shit. She's nodding, or she's trying not to. And so when I meet somebody and they don't want to take my shit and they give it back at me, and it's in a fun way, that's the kind of girl I generally get attracted to. And so we continue chatting, and it's just us two at the bar. And then out of nowhere, six-pack. This douchey, Bruce Lee obsessed guy, you know who I'm talking about, comes up to us and interrupts the conversation. "Hey dude, how's it going?" And in my head I'm thinking, fuck you, man. Get the fuck away from here. I'm talking to my dream girl. Get the fuck away, you fucking dickhead. "Dude, how's it going, bro? I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my god." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, things are good. What do you want?" And dude doesn't get the picture. He hangs around. He's like, "Oh man, did you see the artist over there? The artist is totally hooking up with his one true love again. Whoa." I'm like, "Fuck you, man. Get the fuck away, man. I'm talking to my dream girl. Fuck you. Get out of here." And dream girl, perfect as she is, says, "Hey, sorry, I've got to just go to the washroom. I'll see you in a little bit, okay?" And I'm thinking, fuck you, six-pack. Fuck you, man. You fucking dickhead. You fucking asshole. Oh my god. And I chugged my whiskey Coke, and he kept going on about some bullshit or another that I can't even recall right now because he's such a dickhead. And I popped my head up, around the bar every now and again in between his bullshit, just to see, like a little meerkat, like, "Oh, hey, oh, where'd she go? Is she actually in the bathroom? Is she talking to some other dude? What's going on?" And and I couldn't find her. And eventually Six-Pack got drunk or got stupid and decided to fuck off, which is fucking great. And my boys came back, Short Hair and Guitar Hero came back, and he was like, "Dude, what happened, man?" Guitar Hero's a bit of a dude guy. And Short Hair says, "Yeah, man, it seemed totally on. What happened?" I was like, "Fucking Six-Pack, that fucking douchebag, that fucking asshole. Oh my god, he fucking totally interrupted us. Oh my god, what a dick." And they're like, "Yeah, alright." And Short Hair's just like, "Fuck it, man, let's get totally hammered tonight. Screw that chick, we'll get you another one." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that sounds good. Fuck that guy. Six-Pack, what a dickhead." And so they ordered us another round of shots. We had some Jaeger bombs, we had some more whiskey Cokes. And, we're on the brink of collapse and just making gag reflexes here and there. And just as and the last time I told the story, I talked about my bad smoking habit. Just as I popped a cigarette in my mouth, and this was when you could still smoke in bars, I was about to light this up. You're shaking your head. It's cool. Smoking is still cool. It's a long, long time. I put the cigarette in my mouth, I started lighting it up, and out of nowhere she appears, like a bastion of good health or something, and she says, "That shit'll kill you, man." And I'm just like, oh, right, okay. And you know that short hair and Guitar Hero are your best friends when as soon as the girl comes back, they immediately disappear. You turn your head, these guys are long gone. You can't even see them. Those are your best friends. They see you with a girl, they get the hell away from you. And, you know, and we just picked up where we left off. She told me how she was homesick for Hong Kong, and I told her how I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time. She wanted to move back after uni, and I wanted her to do the same. And we grew closer, our eyes fixed on each other as the crowd in Tribeca thinned. It was 2:30 in the morning, and I guess 22-year-olds had curfews too at that point. But we lingered on, just the two of us at the bar, and probably some other people like the artist hooking up with one true love in the corner. And she says, you know, I felt like back in school you had a little bit of a crush on me. And I'm like fucking stumped. I don't know what to say. This chick knew. My dream girl knew all those years ago, 3-4 years ago, that I had this massive crush on her. I feel my heart beating, my chest pounding. There are beads of sweat trickling down my head. And I think, fuck, so much for playing it cool, you big jackass. I wanted to go back in time and slap the little retard that was my 17-year-old self. Had I been that obvious? Had I drooled in front of her or something? Have I, like, you know, sort of like longingly looked in her direction? But, you know what, I gathered myself and I said, really? Why did you think that? Fuck. And, you know, and I pretended like what she said didn't really matter. And she's like, because pretty much everybody told me that you did. I'm like, fuck those guys, those fucking friends of mine, those fucking assholes. I hate those guys. Why did they tell this girl that I was in love with her? Well, yeah, I said, it's true. I did have a crush on you. And she's like, aw, that's cute. She might as well have called me buddy, right? And she then says, you know, I totally would have dated you if you asked me out. Yeah, there you go. Go back in time, slap that little bastard, 17-year-old self. Fuck you, man, why didn't you ask her out, man? What the fuck, man? And, but let's face it, I thought, I sucked at seeing signs. I'm the kind of guy, if a girl comes up to me and she says, hey, I like you, kisses me in the face and holds my hand, the next day I'm still gonna call up Corey or Ted and say, hey guys, did that chick, did she like me? Did she seem into me? What? Yeah, I'm really terrible at it. But she said, I said, you know, trust me, I didn't know that. If I knew it, I would have done something about it. And she smiled, and there was this kind of silence. But it wasn't awkward, it was that little bit of comfortable silence that you feel when you're with somebody that you like, and it feels warm and it feels cozy. And she leaned into me and she gave me a hug. And I stood there with, you know, Dream Girl's head kind of perched on my shoulder. And I thought, in the words of my best friend Short Hair, fuck it. And so I went in and I kissed her. And I thought, well, fuck it. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to take the chance. She might disappear. I'm never going to get this opportunity again. So I kissed her. She pulled away and she stared at me. She seemed like she didn't know what to think. And then she kind of caught her eyes, and her eyes were looking at my lips. And that time I figured out, that's a fucking sign, right? That's got to be a sign. Chicks looking at your lips, that's a sign. So I kissed her again. And then I kissed her again. And this was in Tribeca, surrounded by a bunch of 19 or 22-year-olds, open bar. And I was kissing the girl that I had had the biggest crush on pretty much ever in my life up until that point. And, you know, and it was pretty great. And so we left a little while later. I dropped her off to her grandparents' place where she was staying. And it turns out that she was actually going to be leaving Hong Kong 2 days later because she had to go back to the States to spend time and Christmas with her family who live there now. And I thought, fuck you, family, you fucking guys. You living in the States, you assholes. Why couldn't you live here? Because then she'd stay here. But no, she had to go. And, you know, and unfortunately, we didn't end up seeing each other again. But, you know, what happened in the end was I was 21, and we both had the Facebook. Again, this is back when it was still the Facebook. And so we added each other, and we were chatting constantly. We talked about visiting each other. Either I was going to go down to LA or she was going to come up to Toronto. But it didn't really work out. For some reason or another, it never really panned out. And a couple of months went by, and eventually the conversations became less frequent. And, and then beyond a certain point, she started dating somebody. And yeah, and it kind of fades away. And we stopped talking. And I guess it's been about 7 or 8 years since then, and we haven't really talked very much since then. We're still friends, but I don't think I haven't seen her since then. So when I said at the beginning, this is one of my Christmas mistakes. I maintain that story. It's a mistake because I think what happened was, I met this girl again. I got really into her again, without any hope of getting her properly again. And that's kind of how it left. And, it left me feeling in a funk and left me feeling kind of shitty for a little while after that. But, you get on, you move on, you eventually get past it. And, and that was kind of it. But I maintain that it was one of these really good mistakes that I've made in my life. They're few and far between, but occasionally you make a good mistake that you don't really regret. You recognize it's a mistake. But the reason I don't regret it was because it made me realize one thing about myself, one thing that's still true, and it's true to the point where it was true 10 minutes ago on my way here, where I realized that when I have alcohol, it's not about, I don't remember so much about kissing the girl. I don't remember so much about the conversation we had. I don't remember about really, really caring about her that much. But I remember from that night, what I learned was that if I have enough alcohol in me, coursing through my veins, this amazing, beautiful Christmas time miracle happens, where I become a remarkably confident, Dutch courage-induced individual, where I can literally do anything I put my mind to. And so pretty much since that day, I've realized that I'm going to go ahead and take every opportunity I can to get completely and utterly hammered. Because when I do that, good things tend to happen. And if they don't, well, I generally don't remember them. So that's it. And that's my holiday story. Merry Christmas. There it is. Thanks, guys.